Hey everybody, this is me, Kaylee. You already know me. This is Number One Leading Ladies, a podcast about women who build each other up instead of tear each other down. So we have a really special guest with us today, Miranda. I'm going to have her totally introduce herself and give you a little bit more detail of her background because I won't do it justice. Miranda, go ahead.
Oh, awesome. So I'm Miranda Mitchell. I'm an energetic alignment coach and human design specialist. So I've had a lot of experience, first of all, through the physical body, learning about the physical body, the muscles and all of that, because I did a lot of personal training and went to school for the physical body. Then I went into yoga, pranayama, meditation for the subtle bodies. And then I found human design, which is kind of like the icing on the cake of everything that I had learned.
Yeah, it's really powerful stuff. And I mean, I'm actually a little bit excited to go through more of that today. So thank you for sharing that. One thing I do want to walk our audience through, because there's a lot of misconceptions. I even hear it right now with someone that's in my life, that it's like, that's a nice idea, but that's book learned, and the real life way that things happen is this. So I'm just going to listen to you, hugs and kisses, But when you're an entrepreneur, making it is a different story for everybody. It's never what some think it is, where it's like, oh, well, you have freedom of time and you can make your schedule whatever you'd like it to be. And it's a whole different can of worms. So if you're someone like me, with starting your business look like, putting it on a credit card. Some people have to go moving with their parents. Some people, like, it takes sacrifice to get to traction when you know that there is a need for your services or your idea. What did it look like for you going through that process of making sacrifices, going through figuring out what it was going to take to figure out, oh, there's traction. Now we're off and rolling. How did that work for you? What did that look like?
Well, I was a personal trainer for about 20 years. And at that point in time, I was only doing it because I was raising two boys on my own. So I wanted the time flexibility. I also had the mindset of, as long as I have enough to pay the bills, I'm good. So I really struggled at that point in time because I was making enough to pay the bills, but that's it. So I had a lot of struggle. And I was like raising two boys too. So my time was kind of pulled in many directions. Then when I found yoga, the boys were a little bit older. And I realized that I wanted to energetically go into more vulnerable state. I've been all in the masculine state because of raising two boys and being like physical personal trainer, making things happen. I opened up to vulnerability. And I will call that the messy, honestly, because I was a mess for a while because I had been so strong for so long. And it was a lot of work of releasing, of letting myself be messy, letting it be okay that I was a mess, because no one knew me that way. They thought I was always the strong one. And my entire family is funny because when I did fall apart and I needed them, they didn't know what to do because I'd always been the strong one. So I went into vulnerability. I did a lot of my own healing for trauma, healing of the masculine, healing of making things happen. And I started teaching yoga. I was still doing it in a way that was making ends meet. So I still had this thing with money, I felt like, okay, now I'm a yoga teacher. So if I want more, then I'm not humble. If I want more, then I'm not a good spiritual practice, So then I went into that mindset. Oh, I don't need this. I would do it for free if I could. So I struggled. Then I found human design and I went into more of my type and how to put myself out there energetically. The thing is, with all the yoga practice that I did, is I did learn about myself. Although it wasn't tangible evidence, I felt like I was making it up, like all of these things. And then human design actually gave me the awareness that I wasn't, that I actually did know myself pretty well. So with this tangible evidence, I call it, I actually was able to be more bold in what I wanted to create. I let it be okay that I actually wanted to make money, because I have the money channel actually is one of my channels that I have. So it was a lot of work of releasing, of being humble, being a good person, and making enough to, okay, I want to make more impact so that I can give more, be of service more, have more, give my children more. And that was actually the turning point and where I started to create more financial success.
That's incredible. So as far as transitioning from one industry into another, taking care of yourself while doing this, where you are at now when it comes to engaging with other people, whether it's services or I don't know if it's consulting or exactly like how we engage now with other people. But what changed the demand dynamic? You know what I mean? Like I understand in your life the demand dynamic, but I guess for the outer population of people, what did you see where maybe you were working with clients over here and you're like, actually what they really need is this, and so this is what I'm going to focus on? What did that look like?
I truly feel that business growth is personal growth. At least this has been my story. Any time that there was a struggle, it is because of something I had to work on myself. So a lot of people, I feel, as an entrepreneur, think about the external results, but really it is the internal results that actually then show up in the external. So anytime I'm struggling externally, I know it's okay, what am I not doing in alignment for me? What am I not giving myself? Am I working with clients that aren't aligned with me? Am I not charging enough for my services? So anytime that there's a struggle, I always look within. And that's where with human design, I was able to learn about myself as far as my energies and let myself be okay that I said no to people, even if I felt like I needed the money at the time. It would have put me energetically in a place that wasn't in alignment with who I was or what I wanted to be of service to. So it's learning about myself, what's important to me, how I want to bring that into the world. And then that then attracts those clients while you have boundaries to say that no to those that are not in alignment with you or what you want your service to be about.
Yeah, 100%. So with your personal learning and the knowledge that you've gained, does that benefit those that are in your life because they seek you out and they're like, what's changed in you? And like, what does that look like?
I will just say the favorite compliment that I ever received, and I'm so grateful, is when someone thanks me for being in their presence because of my energy. Because it is who I know. I know who I am. I know what I represent. I know how I want to be of service, and I know how much impact I want to create in the world. And the impact that I really want to create is through and some people may like roll their eyes or whatever, but it truly is through self-awareness of who you are, loving yourself, accepting yourself, being bold enough to be yourself, being authentic, not following society norms that you think that you need to do to be successful, but really to own it. And when you do that, people see it in you and they call you out. They want to be in your presence because they see something in you, even if you don't see it. So as far as like the clients I work with, the thing that I'm really working on now is I have a business partner and we have a human design certification that we actually teach coaches, entrepreneurs, professionals. So they bring it into their container because we know we make more impact, even if it's behind the scenes, by uplifting everybody else into what they're here to do. So it's really about the energy that you be.
Yeah. I mean, that's incredible. What would you say so far, you can answer this however you want to, has been your biggest lesson?
Oh my gosh, my entire life has been lessons. I know whenever there's a struggle, there's a lesson. So I'm very grateful for all the lessons. The hardest one I would say would be, it's really loving yourself. I really struggled with loving myself. I felt like I had no value. I felt like no one cared. Why was I here? I mean, I had a pretty traumatic life in the beginning. And I honestly say this a lot. I feel like I was a lotus, like pulling myself out of the mud for the first like 38 years of my life. But now I know that was given to me because I wouldn't be where I am today. I wouldn't be as passionate as I am today. And I wouldn't want to, that feeling that I felt about not loving myself so much. I know how deep it is and I want everyone to love themselves. So the biggest thing would be to learn to love yourself, because then when you do that, things do fall into place. And I know it's hard to believe, but it's honestly the truth. That's what happens when you actually do your internal work.
That's true. And there are those of us that struggle with that for sure. Like I may feel very confident in business because I've gone through losing a lot and coming back out with my legs still attached and being like, okay, well, it's still up in here. And so I can recreate and redo that. And then in my personal life, a lot of it was I didn't sign up for it, I guess. I was born into all this stuff. And so it was just a part of what I thought was normal versus like in business, I had made decisions to try this or made decisions to do this or try, so it's a whole different, thing of just learning how to be with what's there and then go from there, I guess. That's
and everything that you try, if it doesn't work, it doesn't mean it was a mistake. It means, oh, that didn't work. So now what? Now what do I try? And not getting down on yourself because it didn't work.
Right. Now, when it comes to, so that was thank you for sharing your lesson. What would you say has been your biggest win?
Honestly, my biggest win is the same thing. And the reason is because before I didn't love myself, I didn't trust anybody. I felt like I had to do everything alone in this world. And you know what? I would do it and I would be very successful. I did. However, it was hard. And now that I do know myself and I'm confident in myself, I've been able to open up to trust with a business partner and work with them. And we're able to have our triggers. We're able to work the way that we want to work. So by doing all of that work on my personal self, my biggest win is then now I get to create and help others in a way that's easy and fun. It's no longer a struggle. Things just happen. They fall into place. If it's right, it's right. If it's not, it's not. And life is just, I feel like it's sustainable, it's easy, and it's fun.
That's great. I mean, I think if everyone were to be able to zoom out of their life a little bit, they would all want that,
Exactly.
Instead of being on the hamster wheel. And I hear that a lot. That's interesting. So for me, my first interaction with human design was I traveled to Europe by myself every summer. And this was like 4 or 5 years ago, maybe 3 years ago. I'm not sure. And I met a stranger who just came up to me and said that like, hey, I need you to take this test. And like, now that I have a security company, I've been through quite a bit. I would never do that, but I'm glad at the time I did it. And at the time they were just like, look, you're a manifester. Here's how this is made up. I can see it in your face, and you're spinning, like you're chasing businesses and partners and money and deals. And you're just doing this and I can just see it. And instead of, this message didn't sink in until the lockdown for me, but instead of doing this, use that energy and keep it and then reuse it for people that have always been there for you, that want to support you and kind of reinvest back into those same people in your life and stop searching. And so I was like, okay, great idea, whatever. And then moved on with my life until the lockdown. Then I was forced to stare at myself for quite a while and realized, like kind of writing down what is now my keynote of like, zooming out and looking at all of the things I kept repeating as a pattern, that it always related to like a lesson that I wouldn't learn. And really it has to go back to the fact that I kept chasing and I kept trying to do things with other people that like they weren't a good fit or, anyway, so every time I had chased something and taken it in, it's exploded and turned into a mess I'm still cleaning up, and so I've learned to just, okay, let it go. When people come into your life and they may say something, then let their behaviors do the same thing and then let them be with you, and you'll see, what they are, but not to chase. And ever since I've done that, it's very different, very, very good.
Yeah. And well, as a manifestor, you are here to really start things. Like when you do get those ideas from yourself or other people, and you feel it in your body, this is something I want to start, you get to start it. However, as a manifestor, a lot of the times you don't have the energy to finish it. So it's the people that you need to support. You need people to support you. You have the brilliant ideas to get things started, but you don't have the energy to do all the things. So you kind of get to start the things, but sometimes you may not finish it. You have other people to finish it. And that's a lot of fun for you, right? Well, and that's what it is when you know your type and you know that you get to do what feels easy and good to you. And then you have the support that you need from other people to finish it so it's successful.
Yep. And the other people thing is another layer of learning, right now. And it's not that I don't trust people, but and maybe it's I don't trust myself, but it's really just like I always want to have enough access to know enough information about everything that's happening to where when things aren't going right, then I have the ability to stop it from blowing up. Because I mean, I deal with other people's money and I have to protect their money, and kind of live for them a little bit. But being able to like cut it off, move it over here, protect them and myself. I'd like to not do that. I'd like to like literally not even not know what's going on, but kind of like give me like 60,000 feet, like what's going on. Okay, good, bad, all right, so there's just a constant lesson for me just to kind of do exactly what you said, but maybe I just don't have the skills to know exactly how to do that yet. So that's a whole nother journey. So
yeah, and the awareness too, because there's so many layers to human design. So there's always the type and the way that you put yourself out there, but there's the lessons you're here to learn. There's like what keeps you grounded. There's so many different layers and deconditioning, like what you think you should do rather than what is in alignment. So there's so much more than just that. So when you're talking about that, that's actually what's coming up for me. It's more of the conditioning that's still there. There's a little bit of conditioning, but that's okay, because it's like, yeah.
For sure. And where I happen to place myself in the industry that I chose, it's like, it's rampant. It's bad. Like, I'm so weird to everybody, I'm like, yeah,
I think weird's good.
Well, yeah, no, I think it is too, but I've learned that I kind of also have to play the game a little bit to be able to get access to capital, to get access to the things I need to do to grow my team, empower my women on my team. If I don't play the game a little bit, and get them to like me, then we don't get access to money, so, which is horrible. But it's not only this industry, there's other ones too. And so it's kind of like when you get to a place where you've kind of done that enough times, then the tables start turning, and they're starting to turn where it's like, people are coming to us or to me because there's the track record and experience and the ethical behavior and whatnot. But yeah, it's a battle. I'll say that. I wish, years ago when I finally got enough confidence to say, yeah, I'm me. Like, I don't want to work with guys. I don't have to, you know what I mean? I want to feel safe. I want to do this. And, but the industry itself was not ready for that. So it's kind of like, okay, I'll play your game. Now, when it comes to human design, what are the human design types? And, yeah.
Okay, so there's 5 human design types. There's the generator and the manifesting generator, and I put them together even though there is a difference between them, but we put them together because the way to respond to things is the way that we make the best decision. So what that means as generator, manifesting generator, I'm a manifesting generator. What that means is things show up to us in the external world. So it might be someone reaching out to you, an email. So really it's about, we don't initiate, we don't start things. We wait for people to come to us, and we can be on podcasts, or we can do emails, or we can do posts, but people come to us and then we respond to it. And that is how our alignment is created, is by responding. If we make things happen, there's struggle. Yeah. Then there's the Then there's the manifester. So the generator and manifesting generator make up 70% of society. So we're really here to create and build on the physical form. Service, work. We love to work. We'll be inspired. We'll work forever. That's just how it is. As a manifester, you make up 9%. So you are really what entrepreneurs are said to be, to get those ideas and to initiate the process, to start things. However, like you said, sometimes you need a nap. And it's because it's like you're a sprinter. You have these brilliant ideas, you go fast, and then all of a sudden you crash. And that's where you need the support. So you're here to create new things and have people support you.
Spot on. And like a really, I would say, detractive character trait that I have, that maybe it's related, I don't know. And I tell this to people all the time, that when you're like, for example, I'm in a process and maybe I didn't create the process. There's like 7 other people that are enrolled in this whole thing to get it done that are not on my team each time we do something. So I don't have control of like the process being smooth, or the process being reasonable, or whatever, or the communication channels being good for me, or whatever. So when there's a wait period, when you're waiting on several other people to do the thing that they've been handed, and I'm not able to move on to something else, I'm like a racehorse at the Kentucky Derby, stuck behind the gate, just like burning energy, and that exhausts me, and it's interesting, but maybe it's related.
It is. It's because you have that initial, when you are inspired, you have that initial energy to go, 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 go. And then once that is burned off, it's time to rest. So if you're being held back, that's what's happening. You're just burning the energy, like waiting. Yeah. Then there's the projector who makes 20%. So they're kind of like the managerial. They actually see other people's energies more than they see themselves. Usually they're the people that guide people. They have, like, the manifestors start the process. The projectors kind of like guide the generators to do the work, because they too cannot work a long time because they burn energy a lot. The open areas, and I know this, people may not understand this, but in the chart, there's white areas. That means there's open. So you receive energy in that space and it amplifies. And then there's colored areas where there's consistency. So that's the consistent energy you have. So projectors are usually very open, meaning they take in other people's energy. So they don't know their energy as well. They know other people's energy. And then there's the reflector. So the reflector makes up 1%, and they actually have every single center open. So they're kind of like a mirror, because if they're taking in all the energy around them, then they're kind of like a mirror to what's going on around them.
Interesting. I can think of an example for each of those.
Oh, interesting.
Well, maybe not that last one. That's really unique. Sounds like
reflectors usually need to be out in nature, not around people a lot of the time.
Interesting.
So,
Interesting. Wow, that's good to know. So I'm really, really in love with getting to know yourself, as early in life as possible. And I really wish our educational system, I'm not in control of it, right, but did certain things a lot earlier. So understanding what you're good at, that doesn't maybe have to do with a job at all. It's just like, what am I just good at, like, as a person? And then when I find something that I can do that, okay, let's pick that, regardless of, like, if I'm a doctor, or regardless of if I'm a teacher or whatever, I think I have to be. And I took this test after college, like at first career, and then I was like, let's change. I didn't have the idea, the recruiter did, but she goes, hold on, before we do that, let's take a couple of tests that'll figure out like what you're good at, as a skill, not like what you think you need to be doing. And I wish I would have had access to that. I mean, honestly, as like a freshman in high school, when you're thinking like, oh, I want to do this with my entire life, and it's literally an idea on a wall, but you have no idea what, like, living that life or having that job or any of that is actually like, or if it's good for you. That's my thing now, where, for example, I go, oh, my vision board, I want to live here, but it's like, well, how do I know? I've never met someone that I've sat with them for a couple of days and like seen what it is like waking up there, what life is like, so anyway, having a test like this, or a way to figure out like what is good for you, I wish that we did this in education.
Yeah, and I love that you brought that up, because I actually use it with my daughter. My daughter's 10. I didn't have it with my sons, who are older now, but I've made decisions based on her chart. And I mean, it's because she has a lot of open areas. I can see that she changes around different people, and it's because she's taking that energy, and it's emotional support that she needs as far as the education. So although she's 10, she was not receiving the emotional things that she needed. So she was learning and still getting great grades, but her emotional level was not well. So I actually took her out of school and put her in a new school that there's no curriculum. It's all about emotional. So, I mean, I will say this blueprint is imprinted at the time of your birth. So a lot of times what it is when you are able to go back and look at it, you're able to say, oh, wow, like, you know what? I don't have consistent energy here. These are my themes. So all the things that I thought I was is actually conditioning of who I think I should be, or who people told me I should be. And this is why I feel awful about myself and not happy in my life. So how can I get rid of these beliefs and really start aligning my life to the energy that I am? Because it was imprinted at the day of your birth. Yeah. So it doesn't have all that conditioning that a lot of the other tests actually do, I feel, still have that conditioning in there, because it's who you think you are. It's not the energy of who you were. So for kids, this is a wonderful, wonderful thing to use as far as letting them be authentic in who they are from an early age.
That's wonderful. I mean, I think that's a great great skill for parenting. Holy Hannah. I didn't even think about it like that, but that's great.
Mhm.
So how is it being in a school of no curriculum?
Mhm.
I've never even heard of that.
Actually, this is the first year and we start on Wednesday. So I'm a little nervous because, even my brain, I'm like, oh, well, she's not going to know this. And what if she doesn't know this? And people think that she's not as smart because she doesn't do this. But you know what? It's really about they learn how to work together. They have meetings. It's about community, building things together, being authentic, trying things that they want to learn. So whether it's art or if they want to use programming or cooking, or you learn math and cooking, you learn science in all of those different things. So we'll see how it goes. I know she's much happier, and since we've switched her out of it, she's had a lot more independence. She's taken a lot more independence for herself. As before, when she was in that school, all she did was cry and struggle and like friends not liking her, not liking who she is. So now we'll see how this year goes. But I really feel it's going to be a blessing.
Yeah, it sounds like a huge opportunity. I mean,
Mhm.
that's great. Oh my gosh, this has been like a relief. Like I normally like my day is like the same stuff, not always, but I had 2 people reach out to me today to come and raise capital for our group, and I didn't seek them out. They just put themselves, because I have a Calendly link in my calendar. They found me and they're like, I want to also bring women into executive positions in this industry. I go, great, let's do it together, So today's been actually really, really awesome. And you've been like the cherry on top. So we're getting towards the end of our session here. And I did want to ask you for resources for our audience. So one thing that we do is, of course, put this online for viewers to listen later, and then use a transcription so you can read it if you'd like it that way too. But if there's anyone in our audience that's watching this who says, oh my gosh, I think that this could benefit my life, this would be something I'd be interested in, I want to understand myself better and peel back those layers of who is, like, for me, like little Kaylee, like who is that real person inside that matters, and that should more so drive where you're going versus, again, what society says you have to do. How can someone engage with you and learn more about human design?
Yeah, you can go to my website, miranda-mitchell.com. I do offer a free chart where I do run your chart manually myself. And then I actually have a video that I send with it to give an action step, because there's a lot of information on human design, but it's all information. And you can really go down the rabbit hole and learn all the things. But if you're not going to do the work and embody it and feel what it feels like, it means nothing.
Mm-hmm.
So it's about learning your type and strategy, how to start implementing it. How does it feel in your body? So I give that action step with that video first. And then if you play around with it and you feel like this feels good, I want to know more, then they can reach out to me and do a reading and all that. But I feel like doing the initial part and feeling that in the body is the most important thing.
Okay. What is your website URL?
It is miranda-mitchell.com.
Oh, okay, perfect. Miranda, thank you so much for your time and your energy today, being with us and being able to share a little bit more about something that we normally don't talk about. Normally it's about, investing, or it's about, starting and ending a business, exiting a business, something like that. But I think it's really important to have a holistic view of your life. And then, like, when I talk to some people, for example, about like health, it doesn't necessarily mean what your body looks like, or like going to the gym, or like just literally going to the doctor. There's so many other pieces to health, and so it's really important to be able to know what's available out there, to be able to truly take care of yourself so you can take care of other people.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you so
Well,
much.
thank you for having me too, because I know this is a little bit off the like what you usually have, and
Yeah,
just about, even if people hear it and they're like, not for me right now, maybe in a year or two it'll be for you. So it's just about spreading the word, seeding it. And if there's something that interests you, just look at your chart. It's free,
yeah, I'm a big like learning person, so like if you guys are out there and you're like, I'm a lifetime learner, if you just like to learn, like, this is something I would just learn it, you know what I mean? And again, when I needed it the most in my life, it was there to access and to be able to have. So if you're a curious cat, this is a good place to start. Thank you, Miranda, so much for being on today.
Thank you so much.
See you guys next week on #1 Leading Ladies.